Hey everybody, this is Joseph Hasek and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the NHL Lowdown and welcome back to should be a Hall of Famer in the NHL, Digit Murphy, the female version of Don Cherry. It's the Stanley Cup and the only media person to correctly predict the Stanley Cup finals this year, Edmonton and Florida, because I said it's going to be a run back, a repeat of last year.
But I don't know about that. You said it was going to be
Toronto. I could show you it at the end. I'll show you it. I have it on
All right.
But I'm going to tell you the difference is Edmonton has home advantage. Last year, it went 7 games with Florida having the home advantage and Florida winning. Now this year, Edmonton has the home advantage. And guess what? For the first time since 1993, when my hair was amazing, it still is.
Still is pretty good.
Yeah. When I was like, I don't know, 60 pounds less. Never mind. When I was
We get old.
When I was styling and profiling, limousine riding, woo! Anyways, since 1993, the last time Canada won the Stanley Cup, and it was the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, for people in Toronto who don't remember, the Maple Leafs were supposed to be in that Stanley Cup, if not for Kerry Fraser, who talks about his hair more than refereeing, screwed the Maple Leafs. Would have been Maple Leafs Montreal in this. Never mind, I digress. This year, rematch, Edmonton, Florida. Who you like? Again, Zach Hyman, a very key player in Edmonton, is gone. He had wrist surgery in round 3, so he's not going to be back.
Well, obviously, without him there, it was going to be Florida anyways. It's all Florida all the time.
Wrong.
Without him, we're going all Florida. Loving Bob. We love Bob.
Bob who? Come on.
We love Kachuk. We love the little rat, Marchand. My little boy from the Bruins. We love him.
You mean from the Maple Leafs this year in free agency? You know that?
No, he's not going to them.
Yes, he is.
How do you know?
Because I got licked in the ear and they told me.
Oh my God, that's really going to be a travesty. Anyways, we got, I love their coach. I've always loved their coach.
No, okay, hold on. You're a former coach, okay? You're a former coach. Now, the big thing with Paul Maurice, round 3, he did not want to shake anybody's hands. The tradition is for players at the end of the round to shake the opponent's hand. I know he's a coach, but
COVID.
No. It's 4 years since COVID. He did it every round, and this last round with Carolina, who, by the way, the coach is a former player of his, Rod Brind'Amour. So what's going on with this guy?
I think that some people are germaphobes, and I think that he has a problem with germs. So, he didn't want to shake hands.
He's a hockey coach. In that locker room. Come on.
I think that some people, take stuff personally and that's how they react and that's it. I mean, you have to respect people's opinion. And I mean, personally, I always shake hands because I'm usually the loser in a lot of these games. So, I mean, I definitely have won my share of wins, but you have to be a good sport. It's really important to show the kids that you're a good sport and your team. So that's on him in Florida. I mean, not that they have great role models these days. Like, look at that guy that was on Twitter saying all those bad things. So just saying they need some. I love Florida, though. I really do. I love the organization in general. So a couple of glitches, everyone does. Everyone has them.
Let me ask you this. Florida, for the last 6 years, they've been Stanley Cup finalists. Florida Panthers 3 years in a row, and before that, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa has won 2 out of the 3 Stanley Cups. They won 3 years in a row. If Florida wins, they win 2 out of 3. If they lose, they only win 1. So if they lose, which I think they're going to lose, okay, you pick Florida, I pick Edmonton, I'm Canadian, the president of province of Canada, and all that. Anyways, if they lose, is Tampa was more of a dynasty than the Florida Panthers? They went 3 years in a row. Tampa went 3 years in a row also.
I think that both are dynasties, Joe. I mean, you know how hard it is to get back there. And now, hold on.
Say it's more. I got a question from your girl, Patricia. All right.
Patricia really loves you, Joe. She follows all your shows.
Hold on, man. Patricia loves you. I'm going to send it to you after. Hey, glad to see that Digit is back on the air. I really love Digit. She should get a professional hockey job as a coach. Okay, so here it is. You just mentioned that they're a dynasty, Florida and Tampa, but in her opinion, the more dynasty is, the Maple Leafs, they haven't won in 58 years. So you're talking 3 years in a row, and you're talking 58 years in a row. So which one is it more of a dynasty?
So I'm just going to say it's hard to get back to the final game. So if you can achieve that year after year, that in itself is a dynasty. Okay. So much of this, though, depends on the relationships between the GM and the coaches so that they have the right players in the locker room. And once you have the right players in the locker room, it's the coach's job to manage the energy, the systems knowledge, the bench, the competition, you're managing the bench. So, you have to give credit to Paul Maurice, and you also have to give credit to Coop, right, over in Tampa Bay and what they've done. So, and people, I mean, if anyone's ever been to a Tampa Bay Lightning game or a Florida Panthers game, like it's a different energy, and I'm sure that's why you got Carolina in it. When you're in those buildings, but it's not cold, like you go outside, like even in the winter, and it's not cold. Like there's just a whole different energy around hockey, and it's so fun because like you're outside, you're in shorts, you're drinking by the tiki bar, and then all of a sudden you walk in, like people are fired up. And for players to play in front of those crowds, that's awesome. So don't underestimate the value of the fans in Florida of all of this, the dynasty. I mean, not that Toronto's bad, but it's kind of chilly in Toronto all the time.
You're telling me the fans in Florida are better than the fans in Edmonton?
I didn't say better. I said that they are fired up all the time. No, every single game.
Canadian. All right.
All right. I know I'm making you mad because you're Canadian, but you guys can't help it.
I'm going to break down this, okay?
You break it down.
Who's the best player in the National Hockey League right now?
All right, Connor.
Yes. Who's arguably the second best player in the National Hockey League right now?
Well, I'm going to argue with that, so I'm not going to talk about that.
Well, if he's not the second, he's top 3, top 4, whatever. It's Leon Draisaitl.
Draisaitl, right? Yeah, no, I get
it. In sports, and you're the coach. In sports, you have to lose to win. Mm-hmm. To lose to win. Last year, nobody expected. They were down 3-0 to Florida, and they came back and fought back all the way to Game 7, and they lost by a goal. That's a learning experience. You have to lose to win. This year, they're back. They lost last year. They're going to win this year. And for the first time, and look, Gretzky lost to the Islanders the next year. Next year was a rematch. They beat the Islanders. Pittsburgh, Sidney Crosby lost to Detroit, beat Detroit. Connor McDavid, lose to Florida. What?
No, I'm telling you, it's why you play the games. It comes down to momentum. It comes down to, you said it earlier, refereeing, and it comes down to goaltending. So, and whose power play is going to be hot. You can look at the past, you can look at history, but it's who's in that locker room and what decisions are being made on the ice by the coaches, by the players. You could hit 4 posts in a game, right? It's just that's what's so awesome about hockey. That's why it's so exciting, because there's so many variables that no one can predict. So I still say it's Florida because they're tough. They're tough.
Both of these guys are tough, but I'm going to tell you right now, and it has a Toronto feeling to it. A little birdie wearing blue glasses. He's a big governor for Maple Leafs, and a guy who travels. Let's call him traveling. All right. He told me if Connor McDavid wins the Stanley Cup in 2026, he's going to come back to his home province. And, the president of the provinces of Canada knows that. And we're talking about number 97, Connor McDavid, to play for the
In
Maple
Toronto.
Leafs. Get rid of that Yankee, that no good, nothing in the playoffs. He does nothing. Austin Matthews.
I know.
All
I
right.
know.
And that, for if you're a Maple Leaf fan, you're stressing and you're Canadian, you want Edmonton to win just for that fact that Connor McDavid brought the Stanley Cup to Edmonton, then takes off and goes back home. And nobody will blame him because he's going back home. All right. So I pick Edmonton. I don't care how many games. Edmonton's going to win. You say Florida. You don't care how many games. You say Florida's going to win. You know what? I'm going to go on here. This is the bet. If Florida wins, I'll come. You get me the jersey. I'll wear the jersey of Florida. If Edmonton wins, every show that you do for the next month, which is going to be only one, you're going to wear an Edmonton jersey, a Maple Leaf toque, and you know that's. And by the way, before I forget, this week you have a special seminar that I encourage everybody who's watching, who's listening, everything to go out and check out this seminar. Go tell them about it, Didge.
Well, we have an NIL agency, the name, image, and likeness for women. It's called United Women's Sports NIL agency. And we are doing a series of workshops across the United States. And this is the first one we're doing. It's down in Tech Week. It's June 5th, and it's from 3 to 6. And we will have Taylor Woods will be there. Joe, your favorite. She will be there.
It's not my favorite. She has refused to do shows now.
We'll get her back. We'll get her back. I don't. We're talking about UWS. And she will be there. We'll be talking about how to leverage technology to help women athletes gain NIL and media. So, deals. We'll have Rohan Gurum. He was on my LinkedIn Live earlier. You'll be replaying that show. He tells stories, and he takes the physical and the marketing brands, and he uses technology to grow audiences. We've got some folks that work for Google that'll be on the panel that we will be at. We will have Data Vault, which is a company out of Arizona. They work with the NFL. They work on blockchain and tokenization. And we will have our athletes be actually put on the blockchain. They have tokens that they can protect all their data. And so we put it out into the world. No one can steal their identity because, our athletes are very well known. And we have players from the PWHL that we rep. We rep Cheyenne Darkangelo, Elaine Chuley, Michaela Grant-Mentis. So, we have lots of people who are trying to get excited about the UWS NIL, and this is the first kickoff and the first workshop we're doing during Tech Week in New York City, live.
And all joking aside, Taylor Woods gonna be there. Check out Taylor Woods NIL and everything like that. But great story, hockey now, bench pressing and weightlifting and you name it,
pulling trucks.
But she can't cook anything. All right, so now Taylor Woods are great. We want to have Taylor Woods maybe sometime this week for the Stanley Cup. You mentioned the PWHL.
Yes,
there was a champion crown, and talk about dynasties, back to back. Walter Cup, Walter Cup champions, the Minnesota Frost. How surprised are you? Winning last year, we were surprised. This year, are you even more surprised?
I am surprised because I thought Ottawa had the momentum going in. I saw they were, I think it was 27 seconds away from going up 2-0. 27 seconds away. And then they ended up losing in overtime. They let Minnesota tie it up. Yeah. I think that they should have won that game. Let's just, I don't want to call anyone to the carpet, but they should have won that game. And had they won that game, Ottawa would have been the champ. So I'm not as impressed with Minnesota winning as I am disappointed that Ottawa lost, because I thought they had real energy going into, they had goaltending, they had it going on, and they let it escape. So to your point, maybe they got to lose to win. Maybe that helps next time. But I was very impressed with one of our gals, Cheyenne Darkangelo, wearing the A after actually being in the locker room from the beginning. She came over from Boston, and Emily Clark was a stud, I thought, for Ottawa, and of course the goaltending was insane. And it's interesting because Mashmeyer now is probably going to be out of a job. They got to protect their goalie right now, and I think Minnesota. Well, I mean, they're always loaded. I thought they played heavier last year than they did this year. I didn't think they played that heavy. I thought that they were a little less talented this year. But hey, Montreal and Toronto, I don't know what the heck's up with them. I mean, they win the league last year, Toronto, this year with Montreal. They lose in the playoffs. What that tells me is the same thing I've been saying all along. You need a full team. You can't just have a couple of players. You need 3 to 4 lines humming, playing heavy. Like, and when I say heavy, it's like finishing your checks. It's like everyone's exhausted at the end of the series. And some teams have prima donnas and some people have players. And I think the teams with the players at the end, the team with the total players playing together, that's who makes the playoffs. That's who wins the Stanley Cup. So I think Montreal and Toronto better get a deeper roster from top to bottom if they're going to actually do anything in the future too. I mean, you can't just rely on Poulin and Stacey the whole year. You can't do it.
And let's face it here. I can only speak for Toronto. Going in the playoffs and losing first, second round. Never mind. All right. So and the other thing is second year for PWHL, and they announced expansion, Vancouver, Seattle. Now, I'm going to ask you, did anybody call you yet for those teams to coach, to be like, I'm surprised you're not even an executive. I'll make you an executive for Fired Up Network. You could fire Norm Rumack.
I think any league that starts thinks they understand the formula that they need. And, I respect their choices and who they have behind the bench, but I really believe that they could have all women behind the bench. There's no excuse to not have women coaching, whether it's me or anyone else. Like take me out of it because I'm biased, okay? Because I know if I was there, I will go out on a limb right now and say if I was there and I had a GM that I agreed with and we were picking the players that we would win. We would win. I'm just telling you, I know how to win.
Hold on, dude. Let me ask you this. Yeah. If I'm, and I'm going to say this, if I'm a GM of this new league and new team and all that, don't I want to hire the best person who knows about female hockey, who went all the way to Japan or China and all that? It's your team. This is your team.
It's debatable, Joe. I mean, why is Liz Keedy, who is the U18 national coach, coaching in high school now, right? It's the age-old systemic discrimination of women, okay, in general, throughout the course of the sports world, because it is what it is. And, I've had my time. I've won championships. I already know I'm good. I don't need them to call me to tell me I'm a good coach. So what I will do is continue to advocate for the athletes, continue to advocate for women. And who knows, maybe someday they call me up, they do. But it's not about me. This is about how do we grow women's opportunities. And I think they're making a big mistake by hiring men behind the bench when they have capable, qualified women. And that is anti what their mission is, which is growing heroes, leaders, and role models. They should have them everywhere because you see one woman behind the bench in the NHL. Congratulations, Jess Campbell. One out of all the opportunities, assistant coaching, head coaching. Okay. So in the PWHL, until there's that many opportunities on the men's side in the NHL, then there should be all women and one man in the PWHL. It just is what it is. But women are their own worst enemies, and they don't subscribe to that. They think that the NHL knows better. They think that the men know better until they're in those situations themselves and they get discriminated against. Then it hits home, but then they're on the outside looking in. So I'm here not to sound the alarm, but just to tell the truth of what I've experienced. So, I mean, I look it. No one's called me. It's fine. We're going to continue to advocate for the athletes.
So getting back to the teams, Vancouver, Seattle. Which team do you think will do better this year?
I do want to say that I'm a little disappointed that they expanded before they paid the players. Like I think the players deserve that are in there right now, doing the work every day for the long season that they are. I think that that bottom needs to be pulled up. I think the salary cap needs to be higher before expansion. So I just want to, as a precursor to what I'm going to say, I want to say that first. You should not have expanded yet. Give it one more year. Pay the players. Number two, I think Vancouver is going to do well. I think both are going to be great markets for women's hockey because there's very few women's sports opportunities out in that area, and I think people are crazy about hockey in the Pacific Northwest.
And it's a
I got to
rivalry
go with
already.
what's that?
It's a rivalry, Vancouver, Seattle.
100%. Yeah, I think it was great.
Yeah.
I think that I'm going to root for my gal, Kara Mori, who played for me at Brown. She's the GM of the Vancouver team, so we're gonna cheer for her. But as an American, I still have an allegiance to the Seattle team, so we'll see. I really wish that they gain the. I want to put more of a United States of America stamp on these two teams because I think there's a lot of Canadians in the league, and no offense to Canada, but I think there needs to be more Americans. I think that, and I also think that we need to sell personalities. We need to be looking at the content outside of the game to grow the game. I still don't think we're doing enough in the PWHL. It's not just about the game; it's about the people in the game, and they're going to grow their audience faster if they do that.
100% agree. And for, we're doing TV here. For if they're going to be noticed and everything, do a segment on Sarah Nurse, do a segment on all these players, because you have a team, but do you really know the players? You don't know the players. Like Marie-Philippe Poulin is the Wayne Gretzky of hockey. No, this is honestly. But how many people who are now new viewers to the PWHL know she's the Wayne Gretzky of hockey? They got to do a better job marketing. I digress.
But one of the things about this is the players themselves need to be educated about why it's important. And when they have been led to believe, in college included, that they're special. And yes, they're special. They do a really good job. They play sports, but to be incredibly special, they need to have brands. They need to have thousands and thousands and millions of people watching them consistently in order to drive traffic, to drive revenue, to drive media rights. And the business of the game has not been explained to them, in my opinion, in a way that's palatable and that makes them want to do things that are going to help the game. And what's going to help the game is exactly what you said. But that takes energy, that takes effort, and that takes money. And if you're going to only pay the players at the bottom tier a certain amount, like 35, 40,000, and you're going to pay the middle kids 40, 50, 60, and they're already getting their butts kicked, traveling and doing everything they can for $60,000, they probably can't even make ends meet. So some of them may even have to have a second job. So anyways, it's a discussion that needs to take place, and there needs to be a solution for it.
Well, hopefully, and this is going to start the third year. So
I've done it too long. I've done it for too long. I see where the holes are, and these, when you get new people into a league, they have to learn the lesson again. So it's fine. It is what it is. It's life. It's learning. It's growing. It's leading. So as long as we have opportunities for women, it's a good thing.
All right. So we're going to close it out with one question from your friend Patricia again. In your eyes, Digit, who was the best male and female player you ever seen or coached?
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Great question, Patricia.
Yeah, thanks. You're going to, I'm an old Bruins fan. Oh. Yeah, I know. And I really loved my Bobby Orr. Like, Bobby. I just, he was our guy. He's the one that came into our life and made us love hockey. So I'd say for the guys, it'd be Bobby Orr. And I know that Connor McDavid is unbelievable and Sidney Crosby is unbelievable, but I'm always cheering for that person like the Caitlin Clarks that put hockey on the map, right? And the Miracle team and Herb Brooks, like those guys really grew the game. So that'd be my number one. And the women's hockey player that really doesn't get a lot of credit for being like just an awesome grower of the game is Tara Mounsey. Tara Mounsey played for me at Brown, and she was a two-time Olympian, and she got injured and blew her knee out. But she was one of, and you can arguably talk to any person that played with her or knew her, and they would agree with me. She played like a guy. She was the player of the year in New Hampshire for boys hockey when I recruited her. She was on the Olympic team, two-time Olympian, like I said, got injured. But that woman was one of the finest hockey players ever, bar none. I mean, you've got these 4 and 5 time Olympians. They could not hold a candle to Tara Mounsey. I'm telling you right now, she was a stud. She was the best player ever.
And just on a side note to Patricia, the best hair in ladies hockey, of course, Sarah Nurse, Per Plus, everything like that. I'm trying to get emotional.
I know you were going to say that. Yeah, thanks, Patricia, for that question. We get one person that listens to us.
No, we don't. We have more than one person. All right. So again, I'm picking Edmonton. You're picking Florida. I think it's going to be at least 6 or 7 games. Put it that way.
I agree.
At least 6 or 7 games. But I digress here. And finally, did you tell everybody again about the New York week and everything like that? And I urge people to go out and check it out. It's not only for sports players and sports, it's for everybody. You'll learn something. Check out the Digits series there. Go ahead, tell them what.
Yeah. So couple things I'd love for your listeners to do is to obviously follow at Digit Murphy everywhere, all things Digit Murphy, LinkedIn. But we've got a couple of new handles. We've got UWS _NIL _agency, UWS NIL agency. Look it up on Instagram. We'd love you to follow there. We're going to be creating a TikTok channel. And what we're trying to do is elevate the conversation about women's athletes' value in name, image, and likeness. So it's college and it's sponsorships and the pros. So we're trying to get more viewers for folks like Michaela Grant-Mentes, Shai D'Angelo, Elaine Chuley, like these players that are really doing the work every day, but aren't getting the same, value monetarily that some of the other brands are. So that's what we're trying to do. Follow us. Joe, I thank you so much for always, remembering that and allowing me to be on the show. And Patricia, number one fan, baby. Thank you.
All right. Maybe we could do something with you and Patricia. Maybe since you could give her your digits. Never mind. All right. Again, everybody enjoy the Stanley Cup. Of course, the Stanley Cup Game 1 goes tonight in Edmonton. There, go Oilers, go. Bring back Lord Stanley's mug so I could drink out of it. And Digit, even if Florida wins, which they won't, let's drink a good Canadian beer out of the Stanley Cup. All right.
All right, and you got it.
Check it out again. Check out her show, a part of in New York there this week. She's going to be very busy. Thank you for your time, Dig, and stay tuned for more great programming on the Fired Up Network. Thank you, Dig.